Hi everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight. This is the horror movie podcast on the Mild Fuzz Podcast Network. We're here every week on YouTube, iTunes and Stitcher talking about horror movies from the past and the present. At the end of this month, Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension is coming out. So last week we talked about the first three Paranormal Activity movies. If you want to check out our thoughts on those movies, check out last week's episode. If you're on YouTube, the link will be about here. I'm going to put that in later, so it's going to look really cool. Okay, but this week...
Right now it just looks like you're pointing to your dick.
It does, Tim, it does. But this week, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the fourth and fifth movies in the franchise. That is Paranormal Activity 4 and Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. These were released in 2012 and early 2014, which is weird for the franchise because they were all every Halloween until that marked ones. And then that came out in like January. So obviously the first one we're going to talk about then is Paranormal Activity 4. And obviously before we get into this, full spoilers for both of these movies and probably full spoilers for the first three movies. Naturally we're probably going to mention those as we go along. Just to recap quickly from last week, I pretty much liked all three of those original movies. The third one was my favourite. Tim, the third one was your favourite as well, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you liked them for the most part, the three of them?
Yeah, I liked the first and the third one quite a bit, and then the second one I thought was okay.
Yeah. Kevin wasn't that keen on any of them, really. He thought they got worse as they went. Joseph...
I liked the first one, and I thought 2 and 3 were okay. They were better because of the story uniting them.
Cool. Right. So I just want to clarify where we all are going into the fourth one, because I think that's important here, because... Obviously, me and Tim liking the third one the most out of that first three batch. I think all four of us will agree that forgetting the fifth one right now, just up until this point in the franchise, this is easily the worst one yet.
No.
At this point, yes.
What do
Did
you
you
mean,
say no, Kevin?
No.
So it's worse than...
What was
it's the worst Paranormal Activity. But if you take it as like I took it, I went in once and I was like, I'm not going to enjoy any of these. I may as well come in just seeing it just from a different viewpoint. It's like a campy sort of fun film, and I had a bit of fun with this one. I like the characters. I like the.
Why did you just approach the first three that
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Kevin, this is a
Why did
turd.
you just approach the first three that way?
This is easily the worst one. What the hell is wrong with you?
Now, this makes sense for Kevin, actually. I can see this being a Kevin movie.
Oh my god. I cannot believe this.
It was just so dumb.
Did you just like Ben? Love Ben?
It was dumb.
I did love Ben. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not surprising.
But which one was Ben? Was Ben the shitty
Boyfriend.
boyfriend
The boyfriend,
who was
yeah.
trying to get laid the entire movie and
Yeah.
failing miserably?
Making the jokes. Yeah.
The password was Big Ben 1.
Which, and by the way, guys, I mean, I'm sure we all got this, but your computer doesn't automatically record all of your Skype calls. You have to go out of your way to do that. Just I want to point that out. I just want to point that out, and I think she gets over that way too quickly.
She really
yeah.
does.
Like she like by the end of that scene, she's already laughing about stuff. I'm like, no. He literally 2 scenes before this, he was trying to convince you to show your tit on camera. Whilst he was recording, he would have had a recording of you being nude or topless at least, had you agreed to that terms. Luckily, you're not a complete idiot of a girl and did not fall for said "show me your nipple, please, pretty please" attempt that he pulled. But anyway. I should just talk about what the actual setup and the plot is for this. Obviously, with the last 3 movies, the plot essentially kept going backwards because it was like the second movie was set mostly before the first one, then the third movie was set, like 15, 20 years ago, whenever the girls were, kids.
Little kids.
This is the first one that's actually went forward in time. This is set about 4 or 5 years after the original movie. And the main family that we follow has a teenage daughter who's about 15, I think, from what I can guess. Yeah, about 15.
He's young.
That's about right.
And a little brother who's about, 7, 6 years old. I don't know. I'm terrible at guessing ages, but right away, as soon as the movie started, I'm like, that's the kid from the last movie that was
easily guessed.
kidnapped. Even though they kind of throw a wrench in it as it goes on, because you think maybe the neighbour is, but I always thought the kid in the family was the one who was adopted. But so basically it's implied that Katie, and you see her properly later, has moved across the street with her child, and I did air quotes there for the audio listeners, and she gets sick and the kid has to move in with them, and of course weird stuff starts happening. But it's only really the teen daughter and boyfriend that notice all this stuff. The parents are almost oblivious to it the entire movie and never think anything's going on. And then the movie ends. And I think before we get into finer points, I want to bring up the 2 reasons why I think this is a bit of a wreck of a movie. And there's 2 reasons for it. Oh, maybe 3 actually, now I'm thinking about it. But number 1, this is the 4th movie, right? And we are put with main characters who are powerless because their parents don't think anything's actually happening. Do you know how frustrating that is? Well, you guys know because you watched the movie. Yeah. But that is so frustrating for a viewer when you've already experienced this 3 times, and in the last 3 movies, each one ended with the people in the house realising, oh shit, this is bad, we need to leave. They actually, in the 3rd one, they fled the house and went to the grandparents' house, which turned out to be a grave mistake. But, that was how far things got, where all the adults were on that side and all were into that and did things about it. This one...
Well, and especially, I don't know if this is where you're going with it, but they literally, show them stuff that's happening, and they have their own stuff happen to them, which I thought was super annoying as well. And then the dad, when he's looking at the footage, just going oh, you kids and your special effects, that's not a fucking little graphic on a screen or something. This isn't something a kid could easily do at home.
No, it's
I don't know. It made me laugh. It's not it wasn't a horror in any way, shape, or form, but it made me laugh, and I was able to have a good time with it.
It wasn't scary. This one I think was easily the most guilty of jump scares. I felt like a lot of it was just
95%.
Yeah, it was just something quick past the camera or a loud bang, and that was most of the attempts to be scary in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And the other big problem I have with this one, before we get into the nitty-gritty stuff, is this film contributes nothing to the mythology. Literally, all this movie does is create a side tangent, which by the end of the movie is fixed and it's back on track to where we were at the end of the last movie. Because think about it, at the end of the second movie, possessed Katie kidnaps Hunter, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of this movie, she's got Hunter back.
Well, yeah.
And we're in the exact same fucking place. Nothing.
If anything, you have more questions because I was well, how did she lose him in the first place?
Exactly. Why was he up for adoption? Because she had him. I don't get it.
How'd she get Robbie?
Who the hell is that kid then?
I think Robbie's meant to just be a demon or apparition or ghost or some shit. Because you never see him again. Once he leaves the house, you never see him.
Yeah.
Really? I thought he was a normal kid. Maybe another kid they kidnapped.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the coven. Yeah.
I actually really liked that it contributed nothing to the mythology. Because
of course.
That was the strong points of 2 and 3. And you even admitted that last week, that the only reasons 2 and 3 are watchable is because the story connected it and made it stronger.
By this point, I'm just sick of the story. I don't care about the story. I really don't care about Hunter. I don't care about the witches. I don't care about anything. I don't care about the story. I like that this film is just like a standalone thing where you don't have to sort of care about the story to watch it, and it's fun to watch, and it contributes nothing to it. Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
I want
to pick up something Connor just said. He said the reason why 2 or 3 were watchable. I kind of disagree with that. I think 3 especially had some pretty good creepy moments. I thought they did well with the stuff with the sheet, the rotating camera. There was a lot of things they did throughout the movie that I thought made it fun. Like Kevin's claiming this one was.
It was.
Fuck off, Kevin. And this one, everything that happens in it feels a lot more silly compared to the previous 3 movies. It feels like the last 3 movies, for the most part, you can take quite seriously. This one, as soon as you see Katie do her zombie walk in broad daylight and just stand there in the room, and then I don't know. I was just sort of
I love that it doesn't take itself seriously. It knows what it is, It just
Yes,
I don't
it knows
think
what it is.
necessarily. Oh, sorry.
It knows what it is. Another found footage film.
Yeah, I don't think it knows what it is. I don't think it knows what it is.
Here's the thing: it didn't
take
feel
itself
like
seriously.
it was trying to be silly or have fun. It just felt lazy. Like
Yeah.
I felt like they didn't have a good idea for to continue the story, so they just created this thing and they didn't try to do anything new. Yeah, and then they didn't even like at least with the other like movies too. Like we had like reasons why they were filming all the time and stuff. Like this, like I don't even know like why the girl like always had her camera out and was always filming.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate that they didn't do the whole. No, I'm thinking of the next one. Sorry, but I appreciate at least went a different tactic about it. Like when they set up surveillance, it was different laptops around the house. But that opens a whole lot of continuity problems, or not continuity, but logic problems. Because I'm like, how long has this laptop next to the TV been turned on and recorded?
Yeah.
Like the hard drive wouldn't be big enough to be continuously recording all this footage, and that like just little things like that. And by the way, this one commits. In fact, this movie might commit not only the biggest offence of this in the entire franchise, but the biggest offence of this I have seen in a found footage movie. Right? At the end of the movie, we're all going stuttery again. I don't know why. Okay, we're back. Right, that's weird. At the end of the movie, she before she runs across the street, right? She is dragged into the closet, right? And basically, she then immediately runs across the street, right? When she's in the room getting dragged out of the closet, we're seeing this from her webcam on her laptop or whatever, right? Then she's running across the street holding a camera. Why the fuck has she got a camera? It's like, it's one thing to say you wouldn't still be recording, you would drop the camera and run, right? It's one thing to say that, but she never even had a camera on her.
Where'd she get it? Why did she run for one?
Yeah, she's actually went to get a camera before running across the street to get her dad.
Ridiculous.
maybe it was intentional, and they just like, I don't
Kevin,
care.
stop.
Kevin.
You're reaching for the excuses.
You really are.
I don't know. I had fun with it, and I think it was one of the most I think after one, this was the most enjoyable of the series.
You are a madman.
I feel like you can't tell someone their opinion is wrong, except for like in rare instances like this, where
I'm going to surprise everybody. A lot of the offenses that Peter mentioned have made me retroactively upgrade my score for Unfriended to a 7.
Oh my.
This made me enjoy Unfriended more because it was more logical.
yeah.
That's a good point, actually, because this one actually half of it takes place through Skype calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, not all of it, but quite a chunk of it. So that's worth mentioning.
I mean, I don't think in a Paranormal Activity film you're looking for logic.
I don't know. I disagree with that. I think they've all been pretty logical up to this point.
Especially the first 3, they're definitely more logical than the average found footage. They're the standard bearer of modern found footage.
Because the whole fun of Paranormal Activity in the first place was that you take a normal couple of people in a normal situation and you start making creepy shit happening to them. And you see how they react to it. I mean, that was the whole premise of the damn franchise. And this one, it's tedious because it is the 4th movie. We've seen all this before by this point several times. And it's really frustrating by the 4th one to then see the characters figure out things that we've already seen the characters figure out. Because we already know all this. So when he's looking up stuff, he's like, oh, I found out a bunch of stuff about these witches in the coven. It's like, okay, we know that. Like, that was in the last 2. You know, it's just... It really was grating on me. And this is I've now seen this one twice. That was the last time I will ever watch it. I am pretty... sure of that fact. This is.
I mean,
I'm not. Only.
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, it's the first and only for me because I'm not wasting an hour and a half of my time again. No, I did say I'm not wasting because I don't.
Are you gonna say you liked it?
No. I did say I'm not wasting it because I'm not going to say it's a good film. It's not a good film, but I had fun with it. But I'm not going to watch it again.
Kevin, you are deeply, deeply confused, young man. deeply confused.
The score will be a little suspect.
Yeah, I know. Well, obviously, we're going to do that until the end, so keep your scores holstered.
Do you just want to skip and just talk about the ending real quick?
Well, I wanted to talk about a couple of things just throughout that I thought were kind of lame.
Xbox.
I thought, I was going to get to that, but I was going to say the knife, the setup for the knife going up to the ceiling, I thought was cool, but I thought the payoff was horrible.
Yeah.
I thought that could have been a really great, fun, creepy moment. I actually thought that's how someone might die, is when the knife comes back down, and that would have been really cool. But
yeah, especially because we don't get a lot of different deaths in these movies.
no.
Usually slammed on something.
It's either someone like being like thrown somewhere or having their neck snapped. So a knife. Yeah.
Also, spoilers, but remember the scene where the mom was was like looking into the Kinect or something, looking into the camera, and then she was thrown off to the one side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was hilarious.
I suppose we need to talk about the Kinect. So a big pivotal part of this movie is that the Microsoft Kinect for the Xbox, when you look at the room through infrared, you can see all the sort of the tracking dots. And of course, as soon as you see it, you're like, okay, they're going to do something with like something moving in the tracking dots that we can't otherwise see. And it happens a couple of times. Okay, I mean, it's actually not a bad idea per se. The problem is that it feels like such a marketing gimmick.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what the whole new film is about. You see that the ghost dimension, now you will see the activity. All the trailers see you seeing these shadows form, and because of the camera he's using.
Yeah, but I think the actual idea of that's fine. I think the problem with this is that it's specifically the Xbox Kinect.
Yeah.
And even
Microsoft PS.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
if in the new movie they're like, oh man, like only Max can see the
Yeah,
ghost or something.
Yeah, but because the camera in the new one, it looks, from the trailer anyway, it looks like it's just something they find that's mystical, rather than a brand. My Sony camera can see this, but everything else can't. You know, like. Whereas in this, it feels really heavily like it felt like an advert for Xbox, and also an advert for Pepsi, because every time they were drinking a can of something, it was Pepsi.
Yeah.
Don't think I didn't notice that.
Pepsi, refresh yourself.
Pepsi,
pay up.
Refreshing drink. Pay us. I'll accept payment.
Oh god, it was so stilted whenever the boyfriend was trying to explain how the Kinect worked, and you were just like, this is just marketing. Like, I know what this is. It's like, it's so cool. Look at those tracking shots.
It's a system for my generation.
Don't you want to go out and spend $500? Yes, you do.
I thought the parents as characters were basically just nothing. They were just around. Yeah. Like there was a subplot about them apparently fighting a lot and maybe getting a divorce, but it's next to nothing. That was the thing. This could have been fun anyway, had the characters been,
I didn't give a shit about any of them.
I think the fact that I thought the teenage girl was fine. I thought she was okay.
Yeah.
But I think the problem was
I definitely didn't care about her as much as like the other characters in the movies.
It's all about Ben.
Yeah. But see, I'm
glad he died.
It's because you expect things to escalate from movie to movie. Like I said earlier, because the characters, most of them, don't know anything's going on and don't acknowledge it and don't even realise they're in danger. It just feels that this is like a step backwards, like several back. It feels like there's less menace in this and less threat than there was in the first movie, and that's wrong. You make the threat more dangerous as you go on, and the characters more aware of it because we're more aware of it, and it's tedious for them not to be aware of it because it just.
I mean, what Tim said about likable characters and how they're unlikable. I liked the relationship between Ben and the girl, and Ben's the only one who matters. Excuse you. And then I like the dad because he was just so crazy and you kids and your newfangled gadgets. And then the mom was just fun. I liked her. I didn't
barely
really care.
in the movie.
When she was making, it was a scene where she was making dinner. That was a cool scene. And then
she was just like chopping carrots or something.
And then Wyatt.
Why are you so easily impressed?
And then Wyatt, I didn't care about Wyatt, and I hated the other kid, Robert or something.
Yeah, Robbie, the weird kid.
Yeah, like you cannot see him.
I will admit though, I did laugh a little bit when he came in and shook the other kid's hand. Like he walked up to the other 6-year-old and was like, "Shake my hand." Like I thought that amused me slightly. But no, Paranormal Activity 4 is a pretty shitty movie. It's a lot of things wrong. So you wanted to talk about the ending, Tim? So
Yeah. So I watched both of these back to back, so I apologize if I'm mixing them up. But this one ends with just like a billion witches, right?
yeah. It's her running through the house. She gets out the window. She sees her brother, and then looks to the side, and there's just 50, 100 witches or whatever it is walking towards
There's
her.
so many witches.
And then it just ends suddenly.
Is like the whole city witches? I was like, this is everyone. There's like so many.
It doesn't feel like it builds this one. It just suddenly, it just for the last 5 minutes, it just gets really hectic and then ends. Whereas I feel like the other three up until this point, all built. There was a gradual build of tension. It was like there was someone actually directing it who knew what they were doing, or something like that.
Talk about stupid moves and shit, but like at the end of the movie, the girl was like free, like. She was on the street. She could have just gone to the police, and I know it's like a horror cliche to not call or do something, and instead to run to the house. And yeah, her brother and dad supposedly were there, but it's like, why the fuck not just go to the police?
All right, well, I think that'll take us to an end of it.
Actually, one last quick thing. I had a question about, like, I don't get like fucking Katie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, sometimes she kind of seems like she's just like in a trance, like she's just walking, like not in control. But then other times she was acting like normal, like, hey, happy-go-lucky thing. Like, I don't know. I want to know like how much control like does this demon have, and like what it can do and stuff.
I just assume she has complete control. I'm assuming she's basically dead, and like he's just controlling her body.
I don't know.
How to. Kind of mask it at times, slowly.
So the demon knows how to talk in like a normal, regular conversation.
Yeah, I would guess so.
Right.
And also, it's mentioned Kate again. And I mentioned like her walking about zombified in daylight, really silly. Also, looked really silly is her snapping the kid's neck. It looked really stupid. And then her dragging him by the hand also looked stupid. So, yeah, all silly stuff. So we're going to move on then to the fifth movie in the franchise, Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. What is it with horror franchises and changing their numbering or naming system halfway through? It really brings my piss to a boil. Fucking Friday the 13th changes from numbers to Roman numerals, like halfway through, and then after that it changes just to non-numbered films at all. Like, it changes twice. Halloween does the whole it's numbered up until like 5, and then it changes to subtitles. Oh God, like so many of them do it. Yeah, it's just, it brings my piss to a boil. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, which I am just going to refer to as 5 from this point forth.
Yeah.
It's interesting that this was originally called the marked ones because it was meant to be like a spin-off movie, and then the next one would be called 5. But they've changed that. They're calling the next one the Ghost Dimension, and it's meant to be the last one. So I'm wondering what plans changed internally that led to that.
Well, someone wised up. Tired. Yeah, someone wised up and realized we don't need any more of these.
The story
probably ran out of.
Yeah.
Probably ran out of tapes that they found.
Because they keep advancing, and eventually they try to introduce something new about the cameras. The cameras do something different than ever before. Next up, they're going to have to go in the future with a futuristic camera.
I'd watch that.
But no, it's just they're trying to stretch it a little.
All right, so yeah, let's talk about the marked ones then. Or as I like to call it, Life and the Cousins of Mario Miranda. I only cracked that joke because when this came out, Mario actually said to me that the two characters in this reminded him so much of his cousins. So watching it this time, I couldn't help but think about it as I was watching it, because they're two Mexican kids who live in LA. So I mean, it's very Mario. Anyway, Yeah, so basically this one takes a slightly different tact. I'm going to give it a couple of positive points here, just at the start, to say things that I appreciate. I appreciate that it doesn't do the whole night 1, night 2, night 3, it's not surveillance anymore. Why the film and stuff, I don't know, but at least they tried to change things up. It wasn't set in a big house anymore, it was, 2 kids who are living in an apartment on a complex. So things are, again, a little bit different. And unlike 4, it did add to the mythology. We'll talk about specifically what it adds to the mythology later. But at least it does do that. Like, this assumes you already know a lot as an audience compared to 4 does, as opposed to just telling you everything from scratch. So those are positive points. I think that's well worth saying. So basically what happens in this one is one of the kids they've just graduated high school, they're about 18, and one of the kids gets bit because his neighbour downstairs, from what we can tell, appears to be one of the witches in the coven. It's been mentioned throughout the movies, and he's also apparently one of the marked ones, and which we find out, I guess Hunter's also a marked one, which the first 4 movies focused on, and the coven, for whatever reason, and the demon, for whatever reason, are building an army of these marked firstborn sons. For what, we don't know.
Out.
But I'm sure we'll get to that in the 6th movie. And he basically finds that he can't be hurt for a while. Like, if he tries to hurt himself, the demon spirit stops it from happening. So there's some Chronicle type scenes with them experimenting with this, and basically eventually he starts going a bit wacky, as if he might be going possessed like Katie did, and start hurting people, and then gangs get involved, and we have basically a coven of witches versus a couple of the gangbangers with machine guns, which so I'm going to actually echo something Kevin said about the last one.
Oh.
I had fun with this movie.
Oh.
Is it good? No, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying that. Yeah. But it did do a few interesting things. It did add to the mythology. And I'm not going to lie, the last 10 minutes made almost the entire thing worth it. Those last 10 minutes are great.
No, I'll agree with that. I like the whole the whole gang warfare thing.
Yeah,
I like the idea that this. I haven't seen Chronicle, but I like the idea that this thing could be good. I like that. Like, they hadn't done that before. I thought that was interesting how they incorporated that into it. Is this thing good? Is it bad?
Well, we know it's not, but yeah, it appeared to them as if it could be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they didn't just assume it was bad. What really annoyed me is that they were communicating with this thing through a Simon Says board. Are you good? Nothing. Will you help me? Like, oh God.
Yeah, and then their grandmother was like and obviously they're a Hispanic family, but it felt really stereotypical to have the old really Spanish lady who's like, oh no, Diablo is devil's coming, stay away from this is dangerous. Of course she knows someone who can help try and exorcise it. Like, it just felt very stereotypical in that sense.
He's not a priest, just an average guy
who had some beads on and sandals and whatever. Yeah.
What I found really weird was in the version that I was watching, I don't know if it's the same for all of you, but the version I was watching, they didn't subtitle the Spanish. Like, I can
no, they didn't do it for that. Yeah, that for my version either.
I can understand a bit of Spanish, but it was weird that they didn't sort of subtitle that.
At least not all of it. They didn't subtitle all of it. And I was watching it on Netflix, so I'm guessing that was just the intention.
It's a found footage movie.
Yes.
Like, why would you see subtitles?
Well, whoever found the footage could have translated it for you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how finding footage works.
That's what I've had in other ones. I've had it in the French, I've had it in Russian found footage films, and they always translate subtitles. I never even questioned it.
Yeah, like when I watch
found it.
When I watch Record, Tim, I'm not going, this is bullshit, why is this got subtitles? I shouldn't have subtitles.
That's different though, you're watching a movie from another country.
Alright, so let's not talk about the ending yet, let's talk about the rest of the movie. I want to leave the ending for later. So, Joseph, you appear to have really disliked this film. So let's hear why you disliked this film.
I never thought I would say this, but this is the least like Paranormal Activity. As you mentioned, it does try something new, but to me, it kind of faltered on that. Also, the story, you briefly mentioned it. I checked out the story. Got to. I like my horror to be a little self-contained. I understand that sometimes you want to make it bigger, but now when you are building an army of possessed men, um, it has left what I thought was the spirit of the Paranormal Activity was a bit more small scale, the individuals, what's going on with them. It's now something I'm thinking the whole world is possessed by some conspiracy demon.
Yeah,
And
I kind of agree with that. I definitely prefer the idea that it's a smaller thing, and I think that's just purely a victim of the fact that we're on the 5th movie. We have to keep expanding this in some way or other.
I mean,
You know,
you don't see that in slasher films that has to get worldwide. I mean, Jason's now going to kill everyone.
well, no, but in in Friday the 13th, Jason does take on Carrie. He then goes to New York, and then he goes to space.
Yeah, he can travel, but it's not going to be the whole
Oh shit!
danger
Oh shit!
of Jason.
I hope they do a 7th one now. I don't care. I want a 7th one set in a space station. Boom.
The witches go to space.
Yeah. See the International Space Station.
Yeah. I want basically The Martian meets Paranormal Activity. Hey, a lot of that was on like found footage sort of thing. He had the camera. He was talking to it. That could work.
Is Matt Damon going to be cast, or we have to save him again?
Yes. Yes. Yes,
We're
we
going
have
to launch
to.
expedition because NASA's going to see what's going on.
Did you not see that thing that Ellen DeGeneres did like a parody with them, where it was the sequel's going to be Matt Damon is stuck on Uranus, and he did dialogue. He was like, "Well, this is going to be difficult and this is going to be really hard. So, in order to survive this, I'm going to have to study the surface of Uranus." And there's just like tons of puns. It was like so many puns.
Oh well, I'll have to check it out.
Perfect for Kevin. But let's get back to Paranormal Activity because we're not here to talk about The Martian or parodies.
And as Tim said earlier, we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, this felt a little bit like Chronicle when they first were discovering their powers and how they thought it was good. They're testing their strengths. And oh, that's why it doesn't feel like Paranormal Activity. I turned on the unofficial sequel to Chronicle.
Yeah, I was kind of okay with some of that stuff because it at least made it more fun to watch in the 4th one because at least the characters are doing wacky hijinks. Like, like.
Excuse me, Ben
I'm
was
blow up an
wacky as
air
they
guide
come.
in 2 seconds.
Oh god, yeah.
One thing that legitimately made me laugh, and admittedly this is mainly a me thing because I'm into like movies and TVs and tech and stuff like that. But when one of them pronounces HDMI as
God, hit me.
a HDMI port, I legitimately laughed quite a bit at that. Probably more than I should have, I grant you. But Tim, you've been pretty quiet. What did you make of this one?
I absolutely hated it.
Good man.
I thought it was awful. Yeah, once again, just had like characters I really didn't like. Like the main character was okay, I guess, but the best friend really annoyed me. And then, like again, nothing really like spooky happened, or there was like, at least with part 4, like at least they still tried to have like scary stuff or stuff moving around or whatever. I feel like there wasn't as much of that going on here.
No, it wasn't.
And
at this point, though, they know that they can barely get away with that with the same tricks, so it's just kind of shifted more to the plot. Because the 3rd one was the last one that had any kind of tension at any point. That was the last time they really tried. They kind of completely lost that with 4 just through silliness. This one, I feel like they weren't even trying to do that. So at least in turn, this one worked better for me, I think, than 4 did, just because it wasn't supposed to be that at all. Unlike what Kevin was claiming with 4.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's cool that they were at least trying something different, but what they ended up doing didn't work for me. At least if they tried to do the same old thing, I could have been like, well, it's the same, but it's a little bit more of what I like, I guess, instead of just this stuff that I really didn't care for at all. And I don't know, introducing that fucking game. I don't know.
Yeah, the game is silly. I'll give you guys that.
I'm gonna go grab a Simon Says now and see if I can talk to the guy.
I think I'm not gonna. I don't want to give anyone the impression that I think this was good, because I don't. I appreciate a couple of things that it did. Mainly though, what I legitimately quite like is the final like 5-10 minutes. For a couple, one I just laughed really hard when like the two Mexican guys just pull out the guns, and it's like, oh shit, we're getting into, because I realised it was the farmhouse from the end of the third movie, right? So they're pulling out a machine gun and like a shotgun, and I'm like, all those witches are going to be about, and he literally does, like one of the witches comes running at them, and he just whips out the shotgun and blows her away, and it's like, that was great. That was hilarious. But the real reason why I like the ending is I actually do like the twist. Like he goes through the door that's the portal, and he actually goes into the house from the first movie, and it's actually from the ending of the first movie, and that's what was down in the bottom of the house when Katie went down and called down Mika before she killed him. I actually kind of I thought that was clever enough.
So
I like it.
It's interesting, but at the same time, I kind of hate it because like. I don't know, like in the first movie, like I thought maybe that there was like a ghost or a demon there, and it's like, oh no, it was just a teenage kid with a camera
from the future.
Yeah, that doesn't do anything for me.
Okay, fine, but it's interesting, and I think we'll definitely see how it plays into the next movie. So before we talk about ratings then, I do want to just ask then, obviously no one's overhyped for it, but is anyone at least slightly interested in the next one?
No. I checked out with the story. I'm done. The story's no.
This looks like it's actually going back to the like kind of main story though.
Yeah.
And like I don't know. I get very easily suckered into things, so I'm fully aware that there's a high probability that this could be bad, but I'm pretty curious about it as of right now. And I know they say like, oh, for the first time you can actually see the activity, so it's like, oh, like I don't know if you can actually see stuff, maybe that'd be cool.
Yeah, but it's like they're pulling the last card out of the deck.
Yeah,
the last card that they've got left to play. That's.
So,
I'm.
You finally see this army, this standing army.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I am curious. I want it to be a return to form. I'm hoping it feels a lot more like 3 Dud, and it felt kind of like that because they've actually got a reason to be filming again, because the camera itself is like a weapon almost, or at least something they can use to see what's going on. And that's kind of cool. Will it be any good though? I mean, that's entirely open. That's entirely up for debate. We'll just have to wait and see. Obviously, we're going to review that on the show. That'll be the first episode in November, because it releases in the UK like the day before Halloween. So we won't have it up before Halloween. We'll have it the week after. So look forward to that. But I guess that only leaves the ratings for those two films. So I'm going to go with Tim first for a change. And we're going to get ratings. We're going to get... oh, God. How many Haunted Connects out of 10 would you give each of these movies?
Let's see. This is really hard because I keep flip-flopping between them. Actually, before we watch this, for some reason... I saw the fourth one when it came out, and for some reason, I remember liking it.
Do you know, actually, now you say that, I remember arguing with you about this, and you defending it.
No, I'll definitely eat my words on that, because it had been a while since I've seen it, and I was like, no, it wasn't that bad. And then when I rewatched this, I was like, oh, yeah, this is...
yeah, it was.
This was bad, but I kind of kept flip-flopping between which one I hated more, this or the marked ones.
Ones.
It's
Joseph, wait your turn, you piece of shit.
So I'm just building it up, but it might change by like 0.5 or something, depending on the mood. But as of right now, I'm thinking the fourth one is a 4 and the fifth one is like a 3.5.
Right. Okay. Joseph.
Okay, let's see. For 4, I guess it being just kind of average. It's not even another Paranormal Activity movie. It's another found footage movie at this point. 3 Haunted Connects out of 10. That puts it 1 point above the Gallows. With the marked ones, the least like Paranormal Activity and the worst one in the series for me, I will give it 2 Haunted Connects, which it puts it on par with the Gallows for me.
Okay.
I hated this movie.
Okay, let's go for the wild card then. Kevin, what would you rate these two movies? Haunted Connects out of 10.
You know what? All you naysayers, I'm gonna give the fourth one a 5 out of 10. 5 Haunted Connects out of 10. Because, you know what? Ben just brings it up an extra point. um, and then for the marked ones, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 10.
Okay, so that was 5 and 3.5. Okay. So for Paranormal Activity 4, I'm going to give that 3 out of 10. And for the marked ones, I'm going to give that 5 out of 10. Cat! Goddamn cat is knocking things over. I do apologise, folks.
Cat's disagreeing with you. The cat's saying, ugh, the marked ones.
I didn't hate the marked ones as much as you guys did. I didn't think it was good, but I didn't like 5 is, you know, distinctly average is what I would say it was, and I think that's what I'll give it. So, but no, 3 out of 10 for 4 because that was shit. Yeah.
To be fair, it might be kind of hard, like watching 2 shitty movies back to back. Like, because I watched them right after another, so by the time I got to the marked ones, the fourth one left such a bad taste in my mouth that might have detracted a little more from me.
Yeah.
I'm quite the opposite. I was like, how can something live up to something as good as Paranormal Activity 4 right after watching it? I wasn't, but I did get a bit bored towards the end because I watched them back to back.
Yeah. I don't recommend marathon these 2 back to back. That's just not a good idea. But yeah, so that's Paranormal Activity 4 and 5. Number 6, of course, The Ghost Dimension, is out at the end of the month. We'll be covering that for our first episode in November, so look forward to it. As for next week, I believe we will be covering Dark Shadows, so look forward to it. Not Dark Shadows, sorry.
What the hell?
Crimson Peak. Why did I say Dark Shadows? That was the Tim Burton
Scared
movie
the
from
shit out of me for a second.
We're not watching that. We're not watching that.
Thank
Jesus
God.
Christ. Dark Shadows? What the fuck am I saying?
I thought you were just kind of making fun of Crimson Peak with the gothic setting.
Yeah, I was like,
Maybe that's why I thought of that though. Maybe that's like why
The
the
gothic setting.
word slipped into my mouth. I don't know.
Costuming, maybe.
I do apologise. Let me retake that for you folks. That is next week we'll be covering Crimson Peak, Guillermo del Toro's new horror film. Although not a horror film according to Tim, from what he was telling me before we recorded.
Gothic
No,
romance.
it's according to Del Toro, not according to Tim. It's according to Del
I am
Toro's
his vessel.
Twitter.
Yeah, he's his vessel. So that's next week, and then the week after that, I believe, is our Halloween special. And on that week, you can look forward to none other than the original Halloween. So that's the schedule for the next few weeks here on Screams After Midnight. Thank you very much for listening or watching. Please do like, comment, and subscribe and all that stuff. Give us 5 stars, reviews, all that jazz. Helps us out a lot. You can find the rest of us here on other things on the interwebs. Kevin, where can people find you?
People can find me on Letterboxd and Twitter at momoguy123. And I'll just be on the Mild Fuzz Facebook page, of course.
Cool. Joseph?
On Twitter at jkohler_93 and on Letterboxd jm_kohler. Also on the Malfuss Facebook group where we are still doing Octoberthon, and I am up to 410 points. Because I have seen TerrorVision, Vampire, Kuroneko, The House That Screamed, and Howling 3. I have 200 points in bonuses, to be honest there, but still 210 points before bonus.
Alright, quit waving your Octoberthon dick around and let's get on with the outro of the show. Kiss Kevin, what is it?
How's your October?
I would just like to point out how many points I've got. From last week, I've watched like 7 or so films, and I'm on 405 points.
Oh, I'm beating you by 1 rewatch.
Yeah,
We've got a race. Oh, that's interesting. Tim, where can people find you?
Tim should be.
Any social media thing, it's at Tim Vargulish. My comic book stuff, facebook.com/GoatmanComics, and other podcasts here on the Mild Fuzz Network.
All right, cool. You can find me on Twitter and other social media places at Wibble89. You can also find me other shows here in the Mild Fuzz Podcast Network, such as the Movies Podcast, 1.21 Gigawatts, and the TV Podcast, Almost Cancelled. We're taking a new approach to how we upload content on YouTube for that one. Individual reviews for each shows that we review go up weekly now. So if you want to check out the review for the new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you can do that. If you want to check out the review for the new, Fargo, we'll be covering that. The first episode of that's out this week. You can do that and just watch those. So do subscribe to the Mild Fuzz channel on YouTube if you want to check out that content. It's ongoing and extensive. Alright guys, so thanks very much for watching or listening. Keep watching scary movies, and we will see you next week with hopefully something better than what we watched today. Goodbye.
Well, definitely be better.